Welcome, everybody, to Making the Merge. I'm in a room with some Survivor GMs, some Survivor general managers in the chat. We have Jonathan Wright.
Hello. And you want me to introduce Chase? Is this like a merry-go-round situation?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Introduce Chase.
Hey, Chase is here with really bad internet.
Yeah.
He's still feeling the results of a hurricane or something. What?
Yeah, and I would like to introduce PD.
Let's not bury the lead. Andy lives.
How is it possible, dude? How is it possible that he's still going? I
don't know.
I can't deal with him anymore.
Hey,
this show is going to be the death of me.
Can we just all point out that Andy trying to cut that rope in the challenge was the hardest I've laughed all season? He was going to town, dude.
I don't know that I've seen a player in a long time that has made so many just
blunders.
I don't know. Blunders.
But he's blundering his way to the top,
is.
baby.
He is.
No, he's blundering his way into that merge being a disaster for him. I can do this. It's going to be a mess.
I want to give PD some props here. I think the Andy pick might not be as bad as we thought. Because there was that scene where Andy looked like a mastermind. He was predicting other people's moves like he was Sherlock Holmes in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies.
I will say that at that point, I looked at Kristen and I said, wait a second. Is Andy a genius? Because it was like everything he was saying was working. And it really did make me question the reality that I was living in, or if I had some sort of medical issue that was causing me to hallucinate it. Like,
me too.
But PD, were you like proud in that moment? Like, how was that?
Was I proud? Dude, I grabbed my terrible towel. I'm a Steelers fan. We wave yellow towels. It was next to me. As soon as I saw that second Annika with the sad face, I grabbed the towel. I started waving it like the Steelers scored a touchdown. And I actually did throw up my arms and say Andy lives to myself. Wow. Just alone at one point.
That is sad. You know, I wish I could say I was excited for you, but it almost made me depressed to hear you say that sentence that way. Now,
I think you're just lashing out.
Maybe I am, but I will say, I don't want us to get too far. Because speaking of lashing out, we are going to talk about some controversy that we stirred up on TikTok specifically, I think. We can call this tree mail or whatever. We're going to go through some at least comments that we've seen, potentially an email here in a moment. But people are lashing out at Rome on social media right now that we have posted. That is for sure.
We instigated
hundreds of thousands of views on hating Rome content.
They do not like this man. And I feel like one of the recurring things that I'm seeing, so I'll do like a blanket comment here, which is basically people saying they believe that Rome last week threw the challenge with the puzzle to try to get Soul to go home. Do you guys take that bait, or are you like that? There's no way.
Not at all.
Give me the explanation. Give me
PD,
why.
PD, you want to take this one?
Sure, I'll take it. The reason why is because Rome, if he did do that, he would have to nonstop tell everybody how genius it was that he did that and that he came up with that plan and that this is what we got to do. So the fact that none of that happened, there's no confessional about it, it leads me to believe that he just sucks at the puzzle.
I agree with this completely. There is a reality where he threw it and didn't even tell producers, right? Like there's a world where maybe, but I just don't think his ego. Yeah, his ego. There's no way that he would let that happen and not brag about how smart he is. So I think that kind of addresses it. Now, I do want to say, Chase, I had a comment from someone about my Genevieve pick and about the bet you have placed, where they said where they said essentially that, you know, Genevieve was going to maybe get drugged to the end, but not a winner.
Well, that is the Jonathan specialty.
It is. We've verified that. But you know what I said? I said that's all I need, baby. That's all I need. Is I need her in that finale for that bet.
And you know, not to get us off track here, but I'm not the kind of person to just say things willy-nilly and not follow through.
Oh, I know.
If Genevieve makes it to the final three, like I told my wife the other day, I was like, hey, I'm going to have to get a Banu tattoo. Chase, you can't do that. And I was like, well, first of all, my body, my choice. Okay? And then I explained what the tattoo was going to be. And then she said, no, that's actually really funny. Yeah, I hope you have to get that.
Okay, I'm glad she's
came
around.
On our side. That's great to know.
Is she aware of Banu?
Oh, yeah. No, Elizabeth watches every episode with me.
Oh,
Dang.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're not available one week, we can tap Elizabeth in to replace you.
Yeah, and you know what? Probably would be better for the show.
I agree.
I'm not the best. I'm just going to say person in this house.
Okay.
I'm glad that you stopped with "in this house" because that would have felt like you were just like, "I'm not the best person," and then you just stopped there. That would have been really startling. Now,
hey, and you know who else isn't the best person? Rome. So let's go back to the events of this episode. We were talking about last week. This episode, Rome, a little more tame this week, but still with one major outburst.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of.
Early, too.
We started with a teeny outburst.
That
not
is
really
very true.
outburst. Outburst I think is the wrong word for it. She was just like...
breakdown. It was more of a breakdown.
Doing a really bad job of trying to smooth things over, because there was no smoothing anything over with Rome at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and to be completely honest, though, like, Rome charged into strategy so early. And this, I will say, actually makes me think of one of the comments on TikTok where someone said that they felt like the people this season and in the most recent seasons are diving into the social game way early and kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. And I think that's what we're seeing with Rome is he's just playing too hard and it's not working for him. And they're all playing pretty hard socially. But it's like you got to survive these challenges, people. Like you can play the social game, but that's like their whole focus right now, you know?
Yeah, I mean, what are they supposed to do? Like practice on the beach how to build a puzzle and go under
that's
a
true.
net?
That's fair. I don't.
It's like, well, that's all they have time to do.
Yeah, and in reality, the drama is better for the season too. So
and to back up a little bit though, what you were saying there, Jonathan. You know, as a field reporter myself, I wanted to say that I think you were onto something because every single person eliminated this season has been a major threat. All of the weak players are still in the game.
Yeah. They're thinking very, very social, not like strength, not anything. And that's why everybody's getting surprised at these things. Now, PD, you seem, I'm just looking at you. You seem like you disagree with this concept, though.
I do agree that it makes for better TV.
Yeah.
If they're all like immediately scrambling and trying to get the biggest threat out of the game. I would argue that Annika, I don't think I'd put her in a huge threat category.
Yeah.
Her edit has not been great.
She's gone, and she's on my team, you know?
Yeah, Annika is Gonica. That is what
I got a hot take for you. You ready for this? The more they showed of her this episode, the more I was like, I don't even want her here. Like, straight up, I told Kristen about halfway through, I was like, I don't see Annika winning. And then when they voted her out, and she was floored, guys. She was mad and sad and angry. And at that point, I told Kristen, I was like, good riddance, Annika. Like, I didn't want you on my team. How about that? So, you know what, guys?
This is a cope. This is a classic coping
I knew you were going to say
situation.
that. I knew you were going to say it. I'm not coping right now. I'm saying goodbye, Annika, and I'm kicking the dust off my feet, as they would say.
I do think we should talk a little bit more about that blind side, though, at the end of the episode, I think that was, like, a Survivor first. Like, the fact that she was asking questions about the blind side after she was eliminated was
you know what
crazy.
Happened? Like, it was pretty clear to me that as soon as she stood up and just the shock on her face, the shock was, you picked him? You picked the weirdo over me?
She couldn't possibly wrap her brain around the fact that they chose to keep Andy. Not only chose to keep Andy, but he was one of the 3 in on the plan. Like, that is highly offensive, if we're being completely real.
What cracked me up is that she turned and she said, "Who was it?" As if there wasn't only 4 people on the tribe.
Yeah.
Like, it was everyone.
Yeah. I don't know. Andy might. I don't know. He could turn it around and make it farther than we anticipated. I'll give you that, PD.
I would argue he has turned it around, and that I saw this coming from episode 2, which is why when left with the decision of Annika or Andy, I decided to go with Andy.
I'll give it to you. Because it did pay off in the long run, but
it did.
But I still see Genevieve on the map. So
I agree.
It's my North Star.
I will say I was super excited that Jonathan lost a player tonight. But by doing so, one of my players is now at the bottom of that tribe. So it didn't work out great for me either.
But not only that, it means that Kristen is left with a full team.
Yeah.
So it would have been Jonathan or Kristen with a full team.
Just like last year.
Reigning champ, dude. Back with a full team still. I know we're ping-ponging a little bit, but last week we discussed, do we think somebody's going to kill a chicken? And this week we got an answer for if they were going to kill a chicken, which was they're going to take it back to the next challenge, still in the little pen, and say, Jeff, can we have 24 eggs instead of these chickens? To which then they start bartering, and he's like, I'll give you 5 eggs per chicken. That's 15 eggs. And then they're like 20. And he's like, I'm not a good barterer, but how about we meet in the middle? 18. And they're like, okay. To which they then lose the challenge, and they lose their flint and steel, taking their ability to eat the new 18 eggs, which kills me, dude. I think that is so funny.
The whole challenge was very entertaining.
Yeah.
Starting with that, and then just the way that the challenge ended with it being so close.
I mean, we're talking like a second difference. Like,
so we're talking about the immunity.
Yeah.
Yes, the immunity. Yeah. What I thought was going to happen is that moment where Soul is walking backwards and he trips.
Dude.
I thought that was going to cost them the challenge, and I was going to be devastated.
But in reality, what ended up costing the challenge for Yellow was Andy's sawing. The fact that he did not have the blade turned around, as we discussed earlier. So,
but even when he got the blade turned around, it still took him way too long.
What is he doing, dude? Like,
he was going to town on it, dude.
He's trying his hardest, and his hardest is terrible. That's just the truth. It's crazy to me. Now, we did get a reward challenge, though, which someone, I think, dropped a comment about, saying, like, there's no rewards challenges anymore. And we were like, yeah, that's kind of true. And suddenly we got a reward challenge this week.
Yeah, dude, this one was all reward. It wasn't the double reward / immunity. And it was a reward with a twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was, they basically made them draw rocks and divided them onto 2 teams, the 3 tribes onto 2 teams.
I've got the 2 teams written down in front of me.
Oh, do you?
Okay.
Blue team, Annika, Sol, Rome, Gabe, Andy, Sierra, and Guinevere. And then the yellow team, Sue, Kyle, Teeny, Sam, Rachel, Tiana, and Caroline. and the winner was the yellow team.
Yep.
That brings up a point that I wanted to make, and that is, if Kyle makes it to the merge, he could be a challenge beast and make it really far.
Remember when I chose him for my team, and y'all made fun of me. I just want you to remember that.
Hey, you don't get to take a victory lap. This is my victory lap episode.
So what? It's like one victory lap per episode quota? Like, what is this?
Yep, I'm claiming it. This is my victory lap week.
Oh, man. I mean, that's fair. I did lose a player, so it's like I have to bow to the rest of the team or the rest of the people here or whatever.
But one thing about the challenge that I want to point out, and I don't know if this was funny to anybody else watching this, but, well, they got there and they all noticed, like, what's going on? Like, there's no red? What's going to happen? But when the challenge started is what I thought was hilarious, because they all had to crawl under this thing, but they were like running and crawling, and it looked like a herd of animals.
Okay.
It's like 2 packs of mice.
I told Kristen, because I don't know who it was. I need to go back and look at the replay, but someone full-fledged galloped under that thing past the camera.
On all fours.
I looked at Kristen, and I'm just like, I just saw someone running like an animal. Like with speed and efficiency. Who was it?
Was it Andy?
I know who it was.
I mean, Sam.
It was Gabe.
Oh, dang, Gabe.
Okay.
All right.
And,
Let's go.
and the reason I noticed is because I started paying attention this episode pretty early on. They cut to Gabe a lot. They cut to him in moments that have nothing to do with him.
Do you think the edit is swinging towards Gabe in this?
Well, I mean, this is Chase, the video producer and editor talking.
Oh, is that what you do? I didn't know that. No.
I do. I don't do much.
You dabble a little bit.
It's the kind of thing that it makes me think that they want us to like subconsciously keep Gabe in our heads. Like, hey, remember, Gabe is still here.
Hey, this is PD, the football watcher, and before we did our draft, I kept seeing Gabe pop up on ads when I was watching football, and I was like, that influenced my decision to draft him.
I mean, and
Gabe
now
could be our winner, dude.
Now, he could, but he also could be the center of something really dramatic that's to come.
That's true.
So
that's true.
It could be that that they're preparing us for a massive blind side that is going to be like a really huge ordeal. That's what I'm telling myself to cope with it, because I don't want Gabe to win. Okay?
Yeah, guys, we're not objective viewers of Survivor. I know every other podcast is like, hey, let's just like dissect the episode and like how this edit is good. We're in it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh,
on
this
this show.
100%.
But you can go on record and say this is the most selfish Survivor fan cast around.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We just want to destroy each other.
Yeah, if Chase's internet dropped right now, we would just keep podcasting. If PD's internet dropped right after that, looks like I'm doing a solo podcast because my wife isn't here either.
Earlier, PD was late to getting on the call, and me and Jonathan were like, well, let's just go to bed.
Yeah, that was true. We did have a moment where I was like, Chase, this went from us recording a podcast to us having a late night conversation pretty fast.
About mortgages.
Yeah, we talked about mortgages and yards. What, like, PD, you see what happens when you're not here? We collapse.
I wish we could air that and then lose all of the following that we're starting to build up.
Yeah, I know. I mean, TikTok does not want to hear about mortgages and yards, at least from the Survivor fan cast is what I'm assuming.
They just want to, all they want to hear about is Rome, who was on the losing team of that reward challenge.
It's true.
Everybody who won, they go to the first ever Survivor Social Hour.
Yes, which was like,
which
what?
they named, apparently.
Yeah.
I heard that the contestants named that.
Why would they name it the Social Hour? I feel like there's got to be a better name for it.
Because they're boomers, I guess.
Oh,
they're all boomers. Maybe they put Sue in charge of naming it.
Yeah.
But wait, she's Gen X. She's not a boomer. Don't.
Yeah, she'd be saying it's like Survivor Bridge Night.
Yeah.
That's what she would call it, I feel like.
But what I thought was hilarious about the Survivor Social Hour is that the sign that was just Survivor Social Hour with a hot dog painting.
Yes. hot dog painting. It looked like a rundown stand that they had forgotten was out there. And then they were like, I guess we'll do like a hot dog thing. We built it earlier. But the sign was kind of it was very second grade art class is what I'll say.
Dude, you know what I didn't like? I don't like to be negative. But
really?
One thing that I didn't like about this episode, is that they gave Kyle a veggie dog.
Yeah.
I have watched in Classic Survivor vegetarians eat live bugs and animals.
Yeah.
And then they were just like, but Kyle could have a veggie dog.
Yeah, they give him and it looked terrible. Can we talk about that? Like, as soon as he put it on the grill, and I was like, hey, you're cooking that on the same surface, buddy. Like, you're kind of...
Wait, you know what Chase is doing right now? It's like when you watch football with somebody who's older and somebody gets flagged for a helmet-to-helmet hit, and they're like, this is not the real game no more. What are they doing?
I want them to go back to them leather helmets where they all died by the time they were 30.
Yeah, dude. I'm a big fan of CTE.
Cut it. Put that out there. That's our clip.
Yeah, I wasn't offended by the veggie part. What I was offended by was that they were dry hot dogs. There were no condiments. That was bizarre to me.
I will say that's kind of my speed. I'm a pretty plain guy.
Well, then we're gonna move on.
Yeah. Are we gonna fight about hot dogs this episode?
We might end the podcast if you're just eating a plain hot dog. Who does that?
Okay.
So first of all, we see where Sam and Sierra find out because of this advantage that they are seen as running the tribe, or at least that's what's been communicated. And Sam is not happy about that. He's upset. And then Sue was sitting there, and who was it that started basically dishing out all of Blue's trouble and all of that? Who was it that did that?
That was Tiana, I think.
Yeah. She went after my boy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like she just started mouthing off about Gabe, and while it's happening, I'm thinking this is such a stupid idea because you have two other tribe members with you that you don't know what their allegiances are, right? Like, you just don't know.
Okay, if we're gonna laugh like this, we have to explain it. Every time Jonathan holds up 2 fingers, balloons pop up on his screen, and it's hilarious every time.
Apple is screwing over my serious moments. True story. Back when I was working in, I was gonna say back when I was working in a sales job, there was a time where a person canceled. And I was like, you have to pay the next 2 months. And when I did that, the balloons went off on our video call together. And it was a disaster. They did not think it was as funny as I thought it was. That's for sure.
That's hilarious. But Sue, the whole time, she was shaking her head. She was not having it. Yeah. And I appreciated that. It's my player looking out for my player.
Well, and Sue, as much as I don't see her winning, I feel like she is a good ally for a lot of people. Like when she says that she's going to stick with something, she seems to be pretty strong in that allegiance. So the fact that she went back to the camp and was like, hey, Gabe, this is what was being said about you. He was, glad to hear it, but it also helped him kind of understand what Tiana was trying to lie about. Because she tried to beat Sue to revealing it and gave him like a very watered down version of what she said.
She didn't try to beat him. She was compelled to apologize by Caroline.
Oh, yeah.
But then she gave a different story than Sue had told, because it was just out in the open. You can't just like make up a different version of it.
Yeah, I really don't understand what her thought was there. It just seemed like she wanted to apologize and then cowered out of actually apologizing for the truth and wasn't thinking about the fact that Sue and Gabe are going to talk about this. So, I don't know. We've got a lot of social stuff going on, that's for sure.
Well, how do you feel about your player, Chase? Tiana?
Yeah.
Not great. It definitely seems like if we don't get a merge or from a 3 to a 2 pretty soon, most of my team is in trouble, including Soul, even though it seems like he might be in some sort of semi-alliance with Rome in Rome's mind, but I think Soul made it pretty clear that he would turn on Rome in a heartbeat.
Which we saw, I will say, we did see again Rome being a little sleazy, being sloppy.
Yeah.
When he got in a panic, like really sloppy, lying to Soul about some stuff. Not so much lying to Soul, like he just told Soul, like, Genevieve isn't in a very strong alliance with you, and we want to vote Teeny. Then Rome went to Genevieve and was like, Soul is saying to vote Teeny. And that's where he screwed up, because neither of them trust him. And they just end up in a conversation together where they're like, oh, Rome lied to you too? Oh, he lied to me too. So he's being sloppy. I just don't see him making it much further. And that's the Rome soundbite for TikTok, by the way.
Well, I don't. Yeah, we're not done talking about Rome either. But yeah, that was really sloppy. And Genevieve just, again, looks like a great pick in that whole situation.
She's looking better and better and better. I just need her to make that final 3.
Yeah, Chase, can you feel the tattoo? Can you feel the needle?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Did we mention it's a neck tattoo? No.
I still think Soul can be the sole survivor. And I think that Gabe is honestly a good pick to pick as a winner too. I don't think Genevieve's going to make it to the winner spot, but she could very well make it to the final 3. We've talked a good bit about the episode. Now, I know we have 2 things that we want to do this episode. One is listen to Kristen's audio message, which I think we could just toss in and post.
Yep.
So maybe we can all just pause for a second, and Kristen will get to
a moment of silence for Kristen's
She'll get to say her piece.
Well, hello from Kristen, the Survivor 46 reigning champion and soon-to-be champion of Survivor 47. Team Kristen had a pretty good week this week. I don't feel that anyone on my team had anything that stood out in a bad light. I think all my players did pretty well, including Rome, who I feel was mostly stable this week. We'll see how next week goes, but I'm going to keep supporting my boy all the way. Let's see. Teeny, she did really well at the reward, the social hour. That was pretty cool. And kind of laid low, didn't get too, in things. Who are my other peeps? Sam had a good week. I think he pulled a good move in getting Annika out. Poor little Andy, he's still tagging along, trying to take credit for Sam's big moves. But I think that makes him feel good, so good for Andy. And he did good in the challenge for the most part. So, yeah, I think that's all I have. Not too many hot takes, but I know you guys really miss me on the podcast, and hopefully I'll be back next week.
Wow, that was really great, Kristen.
Amen. Oh.
Yeah, that was either the most insightful thing or the worst thing I've ever heard.
It was definitely one of the voice messages of all time for me.
Again, we haven't listened to it yet because we'll add it in after the fact. I feel like she's definitely being a Rome sympathizer in the audio.
Yeah.
And mean to me.
Yeah, probably.
She's probably being mean to me because I lost Annika. Yeah. But here's the thing, Kristen. I don't care because you're mean to me all of the time.
Ooh, I've got a really good joke, and this is an original joke. I don't think anyone's ever said this before. Annika, more like Gonica.
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was good. I feel like I did hear it.
I don't think
even
so.
Better the second time.
I don't.
Are you sure?
Unless maybe Kristen added it in her voice memo, and I just hadn't listened to it yet.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
I mean, I guess I'm kind of sharing this victory lap with Kristen because she had the opportunity, and it seemed like Annika was the only obvious pick. she took Rome, and then I passed on Annika with
Yeah.
Andy. And
That's
Yeah.
very true.
before the email, I do just want to point out that when I picked Andy, and I was listening to everybody's audio isolated, Chase said, "No, PD," like is from a very genuine place. And then that's not all. Kristen gasped. So to have all that and then to be proven right felt amazing.
Well, you haven't been proven right yet.
I do love the fact that I love that Chase's reaction was like you had fallen down a well. Like you.
Well, you know, as much as we all like to joke around, PD is a very good friend of mine. I didn't want to see him make such a terrible decision.
Oh man!
But little did
Dang.
you know, I was playing 4D chess.
If
Man.
Andy wins this game, PD, I mean, you're the king.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is like if you win with Andy, then is this season? Is this our first and last season? Because how would we pursue another season?
Yeah.
Do that.
But to me, it's not like it's unsuccessful if Andy doesn't win the whole season. It's successful in that if I had chosen the only other option, I would not have that player anymore.
That's very
That's true. That's true.
very true.
Well, hey, gentlemen, I'm going to get to an email because we did, in fact, get an email. This is something we're encouraging people to do. So you can email us at makingthemergepod@gmail.com. And we've got a lovely email here from Scott. Scott, a.k.a. PD's father.
Yes. Who has joined the
PD's
Survivor bandwagon.
That's true, and we've got him hooked. Scott, we're glad you reached out. Set that trend for people. You're a trend setter. So we're gonna take a look at this email, and it may be shortened. I may summarize it. We'll see. Dear Jonathan, Kristen, PD, and Chase. I like the order of that, by the way.
I don't.
I like that Kristen and I came before his own son, and then Chase, you're last. So here's what he says. He said, "Here's a Survivor story for you. What I'm about to tell you is, in fact, with my hand up. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Once upon a time, in the early 2000s, I was on staff at a church as a worship and media pastor. We had a husband and wife team of children's pastors who were huge fans of Survivor. This was back in the early days of the show when Survivor essentially invented the genre of reality television and had taken the world by storm. So we're talking about like the Johnny Fairplay days, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Borneo.
Bringing him back up. Jeff Probst may have been an idol in their lives. I'm not sure. And he is in ours too, Scott, just letting you know. So this couple of knuckleheads, shout out Tim Walt's term, I love that, decided to have a Survivor theme to Vacation Bible School, a.k.a. VBS. This is wild. They changed the name of VBS to Adventure Week. They came up with songs and games and stories for each night. Their idea was dividing the kids up into tribes, complete with flags, buffs, and nightly challenges. The horribly misguided and poorly thought out part was as follows. The service each The service each night would culminate into a tribal council. I think you could probably tell where this is going. Each night, I kid you not, a child would be voted out of the tribe.
Wait, they would excommunicate a child?
Oh my gosh.
Okay. He said, as I recall, I don't think the kid... He said, as I recall, I don't think the kid was kicked out of the rest of VBS and barred from the church from the rest of the week. It was supposed to be some sort of character building and teach some kind of lesson or something. But you can see how this would have been a problem, shall we say, from a PR standpoint. Parents of kids who were voted out of Adventure Week became irate. And this was well before the current era of helicopter parenting. This was well before a safe space or anti-bullying. This was back at a Gen X latchkey era. And even they were not happy about this. The kids who were voted out would start crying. There's not supposed to be any crying at VBS. The angry parents started calling the office, upset that their own little pint-sized version of Rome or Guinevere had been humiliated in front of the church. As I recall, apologies were issued and everything was somehow smoothed over. You would think that Adventure Week would have ended right there, and you would be wrong. They kept doing Adventure Week every summer at church for several years. But there was a twist, as they like to say in Survivor. Beginning with year 2, each night an adult staff member was voted out of the tribe. Little kids were never told again that the tribe was spoken, or its tribe has spoken.
That's amazing,
killer.
Man.
Unbelievable. That made my head hurt. I was trying so hard not to laugh while reading it. I'm going to have an aneurysm because of this email. You know what I think? I think we should vote a podcast member off the tribe every week.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, Chase, the pod has spoken. No.
Yeah.
If you've got a fun Survivor story or you got a thought about the season that you think we should know about, drop a comment on any of the socials or send us an email like this so that my head can hurt again as I read it.
Dude, I'm just imagining that a little kid gets into the car with tears in their eyes and they're like, Mom, they voted me out. And you're like,
Mom, Dad, I was blindsided.
And the mom be like, what do you mean? It's church. Hey, this is post-production PD. We lost Chase for a second here, and I just feel like that context is needed because we roast him for his internet.
The kid would probably react the same way that Annika did tonight.
Yeah, but with crying
I bet that would have been really funny if it was timed right, Chase, but, it wasn't.
A tree fell on the man's house, so we have to give him a little bit of a break.
When are we gonna stop giving him that excuse? It's like get a hotel or something, Chase.
How about when the tree's gone? The tree's still there, dude.
It's did it just draw out really long for you?
Yeah. You said, all right, so Chase's internet is horrible due to a tree, but he said the tree's still there.
I can't breathe. It was so drawn out.
Can we end this show now?
Can we have one normal show? That would be great.
I don't think the people want a normal show. Apparently they. Oh, hold tight. One more thing to address. Very important. We address it. We were accused of being an AI podcast.
Oh my god. Oh my.
An AI podcast would run way more efficiently.
Yeah. So I'm like, if you think we're an AI podcast, just listen all the way through an episode, and I think it'll prove itself to not be AI.
Like an AI would have perfect sound, perfect connection, and they would go through the episode like in order.
Yep. Yeah. We promise and swear solemnly to not do any of those things. So, all right. Well, gentlemen, once again, this was a good time. Ooh. Chase is laughing hard. I think he said something we didn't hear.
Nope, just laughing. I want to end the show. I'm gonna try to end the show with a little outro.
Okay, give us an outro.
And I'm just workshopping this. I haven't worked on it or anything, so don't judge me if you don't like it. Okay. Okay. Hey guys, this has been Making the Merge.
Very creative.
Yeah.
Wait, I can do better. Hold on. I can do better.
Give it one more.
Hey guys, we're here to make your day and making the merge.
Yeah. Hey, tell you what, we'll get back to you on that, Chase.
Yeah.
Whatever,
times
guys,
like
whatever.
these that make me question how much money you make on YouTube and how that happened.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Here, I got one. How about this has been Making the Merge, and all hail Jeff Probst, our king, our dictator, the keeper of our hearts.
Here.
The one who makes no mistakes ever.
Here.
I forgot my my Jeff quote of the week. I had one, but
Ooh.
I think my Jeff quote of the week is, "I'm not very good at bargaining, so how about 18 eggs?"
All right. You know, we tried to end the show, but we just got a Jonathan quote of the week, Jeff quote of the week. I'm going to give mine. Mine was not from the episode. It was from the On Fire podcast with Jeff, where they were talking about the sanctuary and how that came about. And the gist of like how that came about was that, I mean, we're in the budget era. They can't film as many days. You know, TV doesn't have endless amounts of cash anymore, so we can't do all this stuff. So they came up with like one central location. And this is what Jeff said. He said, "I had a really clear vision of what I thought it could be. The ultimate reward destination. We won't use it very often, but it is a guaranteed good time if you win a visit to the sanctuary. And the inspiration for the name The Sanctuary came directly from my personal life. My wife and I have some close friends, and they have this really nice little home. They called it The Sanctuary, and we loved getting invited over because every time we came over, everything was so nice and comfortable that I literally wrote down, we will call it The Sanctuary where good things happen."
Here's I have some feedback for Jeff. I know that we just said he doesn't make mistakes, but he said, "I've got something really important from my personal life. Oh, by the way, it's actually from someone else's personal life." I feel like we're like in Oppenheimer right now, where we've had 5 different endings that you thought that's got to be the last scene, and then it's not the last scene, and it just keeps getting better.
I'll do another outro. I'll do another sick outro.
Yeah.
All right, this one's gonna work. I feel like you guys are really gonna like this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for listening. You didn't get eliminated. You're making the merge.
It was
All
better.
right, I'm done. I'm done.
That was good.
All right,
I will say
whatever.
that was the best of the 3, so we'll leave it at
I
that.
thought I
All
did
right.
4.
Okay.
All right, PD out.